What if the moment you most needed healing came when others were watching to judge you instead of help you? What if compassion mattered more than rules, even sacred ones? What if silence itself became the stage for mercy to speak? It happened on a Sabbath, a day meant for rest, reflection, and worship. Jesus was invited into the home of a prominent Pharisee to share a meal. On the surface, it looked like a respectful gathering, perhaps even an honor. But beneath the calm setting, tension quietly filled the room. The religious leaders were watching him closely, not to learn, not to be healed, but to find fault. Every movement, every word, every breath was being measured. In that room stood a man suffering from dropsy, his body swollen with fluid, his condition visible and uncomfortable. In those days, illness was often seen not only as physical weakness, but as spiritual failure. To be sick was to be suspected. To suffer openly was to be judged silently. This man did not speak. He did not ask for healing. His presence alone was a question hanging in the air. Jesus noticed him immediately. Before touching the man, Jesus did something unexpected. He turned to the experts in religious law and asked a question. Is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath or not? The room fell silent. No one answered. They knew the rules, they knew the debates, they knew the risks, but they did not know how to respond to mercy standing right in front of them. Their silence spoke volumes. Jesus then reached out and healed the man. Instantly, gently, completely. The swelling was gone. The suffering ended. And then, just as quietly as he appeared, the healed man was sent away. No applause, no celebration, no public praise, just restoration. Then Jesus spoke again, asking another question. If one of you has a son or an ox that falls into a well on the Sabbath, will you not immediately pull him out? Once again, silence. They had no answer, because deep down, they knew the truth. Love does not wait for permission. Compassion does not check the calendar. Mercy does not pause for technicalities. This moment reveals something deeply human and deeply divine. The Sabbath was created as a gift, not a burden, a day to restore life, not restrict it. Yet over time, people had turned it into a system of control, measuring righteousness by rule-keeping rather than heart posture. Jesus did not come to destroy the Sabbath. He came to restore its purpose. Healing on the Sabbath was not rebellion. It was fulfillment. The man with dropsy represents more than a physical condition. He represents all who carry visible pain into rooms where no one wants to acknowledge it. He represents those who are silently suffering, while others debate theology. He represents people who feel like problems instead of persons. Jesus did not ask how the man ended up sick. He did not demand repentance first. He did not lecture him about faith. He simply healed him. This challenges a dangerous idea that suffering is always the result of personal failure. Sometimes pain is just pain. Sometimes sickness is just sickness. And sometimes the most holy response is compassion, not explanation. The religious leaders knew the scriptures but missed the heart of God. They knew the laws but overlooked love. They were experts in rules, yet beginners in mercy. Jesus exposed this not with anger but with truth and action. Notice that Jesus asked questions instead of giving speeches. Questions force reflection, questions reveal motives, questions leave room for conviction. And their inability to answer showed how far they had drifted from the very God they claimed to defend. This story asks us uncomfortable questions too. How often do we notice suffering but delay action because it's inconvenient? How often do we hide behind policies, schedules, or traditions instead of responding with kindness? How often do we watch instead of help? There is also something powerful in the fact that Jesus healed in front of his critics. He did not wait for a safer moment. He did not postpone compassion until the environment was supportive. He chose love even when it would be misunderstood. True goodness does not need approval. For the man who was healed, this moment likely changed more than his body. It restored his dignity. It returned him to community. It reminded him that God saw him even when others only saw a problem. And for those watching, the miracle forced a decision. Either cling to rules or surrender to mercy. Either protect systems or embrace compassion. Either remain silent or be transformed. Jesus showed that the Sabbath is not about inactivity. It is about restoration. It is about making things right again. It is about life returning to where it has been drained. In our modern world, we still struggle with the same tension. We value efficiency over empathy. order over people, correctness over kindness. And like those religious leaders, we sometimes choose comfort over compassion. But Jesus continues to ask the same question. What matters more, the rule or the person? The schedule or the suffering? The appearance of holiness or the practice of love? This story reminds us that faith without mercy becomes cold, that obedience without compassion becomes empty, and that religion without love can quietly become cruel. Jesus healed because love compelled him. Not because it was permitted, not because it was convenient, but because it was right. And maybe that is the invitation for us today, to see the quiet pain in the room, to act even when others are watching, to choose mercy, even when it costs us something, because when love moves first, healing follows. Thank you for watching this video. If this message spoke to your heart, please like the video, follow Holy Path Insights for more faith-filled reflections, and share this with someone who may need encouragement today. And be sure to watch the full video connected to this message to go deeper into the life and teachings of Jesus.